Is there a way that you can support elementals in this time of planetary transition, since they seem to have an important role in keeping the Earth in balance?
Well, in a sense, the idea of taking on the role from your side of keeping the Earth in balance and doing the things that will help stabilize the environment in positive ways, increasing the idea of the natural world and making those connections from your side will be something that will also allow them more opportunity to do so from their side. So the whole idea of making the connection with them and taking actions in your reality that are more representative of enhancing the environment, stabilizing the environment in a more natural way, is what you can do from your side while they do what they do from their side. It's not entirely up to them. This has to be a relationship. It has to be, in a sense, a 50-50 proposition.
It just occurred to me that the connection that elementals experience with Earth and nature is a profoundly deep love affair, in a sense.
Yes.
And that the more that you love Earth and you love all the elements of Earth, the more you are putting yourself in a state that's similar to what an elemental might experience.
Exactly. And therefore, like we have said with regard to extraterrestrial contact, you have to meet them halfway. You have to bring your vibrational frequency at least much closer to the level that they operate on in order for you to perceive them and in order for you to interact with them in the ways that will allow for the acceleration of the balance of the natural world of Earth.
Now, one person had an experience where they were with a grove of trees and suddenly shifted to a parallel reality where they realized that the forest is inhabited with tree people. In other words, the people of the forest are the trees, and that they are a community that has very strong bonds, and they're also very welcoming of the human consciousness.
That's why we say that the trees are, in a sense, the ambassadors between humans and the natural world, because they're connected to the idea of physical humans, they're connected to the idea of the elementals, and in a sense they act as the go-between. So they're always welcoming you into their reality to act as, well, for lack of a better term, brokers between the two different civilizations of human and elemental. That's the common bond. That's the common frequency. That's the common interface, are the trees.
So they experience each other as individual consciousnesses.
And collective, both.
And a collective at the same time. And they have young people and old people, and it's just it's a community of being.
It is. But again, when you say young people and old people, we understand what you mean in terms of time and the growth of trees. Yes. But don't assign a human perspective to that, because they don't see it exactly in that way. Remember that they can perceive things in parallel realities and multiple dimensions a little bit differently than you can. And the idea of young and old has a particular perspective to them, but it's not exactly the human perspective.
And yet you need the older trees in a forest in order to share their energy with the younger trees.
Yes, yes. But again, all we're simply saying is the terminology that you're using, the definitions that you're using, have a particular human bent to them that is not experienced exactly in the same way by the tree consciousness.
And one last thing about trees, that they seem to have a very generous spirit in general.
Yes.
And their genetics are actually more complex than ours.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So they are actually highly evolved beings in many respects.
Yes. In fact, the very idea that they are apparently to you immobile requires the extra genetics and the extra abilities, because they can't move away from things like humans can. Therefore, they have to have more adaptability to a variety of situations, hence a more complex genetic structure.
And they communicate with each other chemically, so they let each other know that there's danger or all kinds of communication
Yes.
that happens.
Yes, yes.
So it's very sophisticated, and yet it's hidden to human consciousness unless you shift your vibration to be able to perceive what is actually happening.
Yes, but it's not hidden on purpose. It is simply the idea of the limitations that human consciousness has placed on itself, because long ago, when humans were much more connected in their understanding of their expression of nature, it wasn't hidden at all. It was understood very clearly.
So that would be Native Americans, Lemurians, those beings were much more
Early Atlanteans, yes. And not leaving out the idea of people in other parts of your planet, because many of them also had a more natural way of relating to nature.
Yes, I think almost every continent had its share of shamanic beings that were connecting with nature.
Yes. And it was much more common in those societies to understand those things as natural.
Now, one person has a boa constrictor and he wants to know how to communicate with that being and if it's possible to create a relationship and an emotional connection between a reptilian being, and I'm talking about actual reptile, and human.
Well, of course it is. So again, many of the things we've already said will apply as well. The idea of the deep emotional bond, the idea of using imagery instead of words. The reptile will also assist you in understanding exactly how to frame those images, how to frame those emotions in its context, in its quote-unquote language.
So you're basically saying, be the snake, and then you will know how to talk to the snake.
In essence, yes, and the snake will help you if it really senses a deep willingness and a deep bond in your consciousness that wishes to do so. So again, this is why it's so important to have that deep, loving, vibrational, harmonic bond, because then the being will sense that you really desire a connection and will help you with that connection by sending the imagery and the feelings as well that will help you understand how to focus in on its particular way of creating a communication.
Okay, I think that's helpful. Let's see. I'm going to switch over to a question having to do with the precursors.
Yes.
And we wanted to give you an opportunity to clarify the idea of whether precursors were actually born here on the planet or whether they are actually extraterrestrial.
We understand that there may have been a slip in translation when we first talked about that concept. And this is why we have recently begun to talk about people born on the planet who have similar hybridized genetics to precursors as being preparers rather than calling themselves precursors. Precursor, by definition, is something that comes before something else. And therefore, since you're already on the planet, you can't be precursors because you're not coming to the planet, you're on the planet. But you can be preparers. And the preparers can exhibit some of the same vibrational frequencies as the precursors. But precursors are born off the planet. They are hybrids from off the planet, are not born on Earth. Who is born on Earth are preparers. We apologize for any confusion in translation. Now we will allow for a shift to occur so that we may facilitate the consciousness of Willa Hilla Chrissing to guide you through the next phase of the cryptic and shamanistic journey. So, one moment. All right then. We will say good day to all of you downline, our little chokies, referring to the idea of your artichoke, which has many layers that need to be pulled away in order to find the heart. Let us go on a journey now together for the idea that we have initiated with you of the cryptic experience for those that wish to go on this shamanistic journey and allow themselves to ground and connect more to what you call the natural world as your natural selves. Let me remind you first and foremost of the idea of the first phase of the forest path that we have explained to you as meditating for at least 15 of your minutes as you count time, with your back to a tree, connecting with your energy and facing a body of water, whether it be a stream or a babbling brook or a lake or a sea, doesn't matter. The idea being that you are connecting with your hand to the ground and allowing your energy and mentality to extend your consciousness below ground into the root system and the mycelial network that connects all the trees along which they share nutrients and energy and information with each other to become one organism, so that you can begin to bond with them in that way and start to really receive more clearly the communications along the forest path of all of the consciousness expressing itself as trees and flowers and streams and rocks and sky. All of the growing things of the earth itself, and connecting into Gaia in that way. But now we would like to introduce the first step in the next phase, which we call the animal path, this being the springtime of change, and in the fall, coming up with the idea of the next change in your seasons, at that time introducing you to the elemental path. And as the Bashar has explained to some degree, the idea that there are 3 steps to each of the 3 phases for a completion total of 9 to allow you to go through the cryptic phase in that way, and then move on eventually to the nocturnal phase for those again who wish to follow this path and increase their sensitivity to the idea of higher frequency energies and those communications that exist all around every single one of you all the time that may now be invisible to you. So let us peel away some of the leaves of the artichokes that you are to find the heart by going into the idea of expanding your experience, not stopping your experience of doing the forest path in the way that we have described it to connect to that mycelial network, but continuing to enhance that for at least 15 minutes of your time, longer if you wish. But now going into the idea of the animal path. So first and foremost, we would allow you to become very relaxed in whatever way you find comfortable for you and your consciousness at this time. And allow yourself to drift and dream with whatever lights and sounds you wish to play. It's up to you. And to begin to allow yourself to open up to the animal path of the cryptic journey and the shamanistic experience in the following way. Allow your imagination to go this way now. As we describe, you can allow yourself and your imagination to go with the flow of what you are already familiar with. In other words, if you already identify with a particular kind of animal, be they the idea of cats or be the idea of dogs that you have around you constantly and commonly, that is all right. But at the moment, we would also invite you to open up to the idea of different forms of animal consciousness in different environments around your planet, around the idea of Earth at the time in which you live, be it forest, be it jungle, be it sky, be it sea, be it the idea of inviting in or attracting yourself to the consciousness of the birds, the bees, the animals that might be called mammals, the animals that might be called insects, the animals that might be called reptiles, the fish, the dolphins, the whales, whatever it is you're most attracted to. But I would caution you this. Don't necessarily choose the animal or gravitate to the animal just because you enjoy them. Allow this to be an experience of the animal truly coming to you, truly letting you know that they are there for you. And if it is something that you already have developed a strong bond with, be it the idea, as we say, of a cat or a dog, it's all right to use the animals you already consider to be family. But make sure the bond is strong. Make sure that the familiar sense is there, that they truly feel like part of your family at this time. Not just because you are enamored of them, not just because they are friendly and like to play, but truly because you consider them and feel them to be members of your family. So give yourself a moment to just use your imagination and open up to forest or jungle or sky or land or sea or savanna or plain or cold or warm, the desert or the forest, doesn't matter. What matters now is that you allow yourself to feel, to stretch out your vibrational energy, to connecting to the animal you feel most bonded with. Let it come to you, or you can travel to it. It doesn't matter in that way. Allow yourself simply to feel that familial bond of love. These animals that come to you, or that you go to, or that you have chosen here in your imagination, you must be willing to truly hold them in your heart. Truly hold them in your arms, if at all possible. Truly find them to be a connection of love and light. Truly feel that you are in communion with them. Truly feel that they live with you in your family. Truly feel that they are a part of you and you a part of them, that you truly love them deeply, deeply held in that sense. Allow yourself a moment to feel this way and see what animals come up to you. Sometimes one animal may approach and it may leave. You may test it out and you may find it is not exactly the bond you're looking for, and that's fine. It doesn't matter in that sense. But allow yourself to go through this exercise of opening your imagination and opening up your heart to the animal path, and let the animal show you by the feeling that you have of familiarity and love and a family bond with them, that you could truly feel yourself holding them in your hands, loving them, putting your forehead to theirs if they have one, allowing themselves to truly physically interact, connect with you in that way, and be a loving source for you as you are a loving source for them, a reflection as they are a reflection for you. Allow yourself to do this and take the time necessary to really find which one works for you. I already know that for myself, it is the gravitation to the fox in many forms that is mine. And it isn't even about the idea necessarily of being the same animal that you might consider to be your own animal totem in life. That can be different. It can be the same, but it can be different. So allow yourself to really feel it deeply, the connection that you are family, you are in love with this animal, as I am in love with the fox, as the fox is part of my family, as the fox is the family to which I belong. That it goes in both directions in that way, that you really feel that connection, that strength from heart to heart and mind to mind, eye to eye, face to face, with this beautiful, loving animal consciousness. Give yourself the time to explore this until you find that one settles in and one fills your heart and fills you with love and fills you with joy and expands your consciousness to see differently, to see the world differently through its eyes, to begin to truly identify in many ways as that animal, as the animal identifies as you, to truly share, immerse yourselves in the vibrational state and bubble of each other. That is, each of your realities becoming one, sharing that overlap, to truly create a third identity with you as animal and animal as you, to allow yourself to truly the time to experience these things in love and joy and relaxation, and to drift with each other and dream with each other until it becomes a kind of a blur, so you cannot tell yourselves apart by looking through each other's eyes and being in love with one another truly, deeply. And allow yourself that time to drift and harmonize and feel that love and that joy with each other. This is the second part of the cryptic journey, and this is just the beginning. For again, as has been explained, as you go through every part, it is just the first part of each of the three phases of the cryptic journey, and we will come back around again and again to take you to the next level of the forest path and the animal path and the elemental path, so that you can complete the circuitry of the 9 in each of the stages, the overall stages, the first being the cryptic that grounds you and connects you to nature, to Gaia, as your expression of Gaia, so that you can make sure you are anchored to the earth as you then continue on to explore other dimensional realms in the nocturnal and the shapeshifter and the sage and the wraith levels, as you will want to be do if you have a mind to, as you have a gravitation to, as you have an attraction to. For not everyone necessarily has to go through the entire set. You can allow yourself to stop at being the cryptic You can stop at being the nocturnal. Whatever it is that feels correct to you, you can do. For the path, the full path, is not for everyone, nor does it need to be. But we take you on this journey with us this time so that you become into the lodge of the brotherhood and the sisterhood of whatever it is you wish to be, of the spirithood that is you, into this lodge that we offer you this invitation for, to follow the cryptic path in whatever way, shape, or form you so desire or not. 'Tis up to you, and we welcome you with open arms and open heart and open mind into the lodge that we share on the journey of the cryptic and the journey of the shaman, the journey of the spirit and the journey of the soul in this particular way at this particular timing. Allow yourselves to be immersed in this whenever you so desire. Don't forget to allow yourselves the forest path too, of constantly going into the idea of the woods and sitting with your back to the tree and facing the water and deepening your sense of consciousness into the mycelial root system. And then also following this idea of the animal path and allowing yourself to drift and dream as you strengthen the bond of love and family between you and the animal that shows up for you in this way. So that will be the second part that you can practice, 1 and 2 in that way, and we will then bring you the third part of the elemental path in its first step in the fall, which is the appropriate timing to get in touch with the elementals, as you know, because that's truly, in a sense, what Halloween is all about. So now enjoy and revel and celebrate the spring with the animal path by going more deeply into nature on the cryptic path, the shaman path, the spirit path of the lodge that we invite you to belong to on this journey with us. Our unconditional love to you, my dear little artichokes, as you peel away those leaves and find the core and find the heart of your being that is so delicious. For every single one of you is beautiful in that way. We thank you, and we now turn you back to the Bashar, and we will see you again. For we will now be more upline, and you will be now downline, but we will be closer to each other through this particular journey, through this particular exercise, and we will become more in love with each other, more bonded as family with each other in this way, and more part of the same lodge, more part of the same humanhood and hybridhood and spirithood. Our love to you all. Blessings and good day. And give us a moment. All right, now as you allow yourself to absorb the information that Willa has given you and to apply it in your lives, in whatever way, shape, or form your imagination so desires and your higher mind guides you, allow yourself to know that you have been given this gift to look more deeply within yourself, to discover more aspects of your being and your consciousness, and to live in more joy and in more love and in more light and more beauty. The beauty that unfolds from the center of your being, the spark of light that is the reflection of all that is within you. Our unconditional love and deep appreciation to you all for allowing us with you to co-create this experience this day of your time. Until we meet again. But it'll say, let us continue this transmission with your questions and dialogues, if you wish.
Greetings, dear brother.
And to you, good day.
And greetings to everybody on the other side of the veil.
Guys.
We're going to be building new sacred sites and pyramid temples.
Guys.
And is there a way to, or a method to find the exact location of the intersection of the ley line, sir?
Well, there are a variety of ways. Some of them can actually be found if your equipment is sensitive enough with electromagnetic sensors. But you can intuit them as well if you place yourself in the proper meditative state and focus on the idea of the energetic lines, the grid on your planet. You can intuit it, and also some people can use permission slips, such as dowsing rods and so forth, to also plot and chart the idea of the electromagnetic grid, or ley lines as you call them, on your planet. There are a variety of ways, and different people will be attracted to different methodologies based on what works with their belief system. You follow?
Yes, brother.
All right. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Anything else?
In the temples we're going to be building, we're going to have like some staging areas. Would some type of platform, such as a landing pad or a rod for the ships to anchor to, which would be more?
A platform,
Okay.
at least 100 feet in diameter, would be of assistance, with a gateway or an entry point. Doesn't have to be connected to any other, but a symbolic door, in a sense, at each of the 4 cardinal points, north, east, south, west, would be most efficacious as a representation, as a symbol, as a permission slip to connect the collective consciousness of your planet, the energy of your world, with the concept of contact in that way.
Thank you,
Painting each of the doorways red, white, black, yellow, in the directions as indicated by many of the indigenous societies in your North American continent, to associate those colors with the proper directions. All right?
Thank you, brother.
Will that do?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
I have a few more questions.
Oh, I thought you said that would do.
Oh, for that one.
Yes, all right.
The Pyramid of Giza, other than using the sarcophagus permission slip, was it ever used as a power plant?
It generates a kind of focus like a lens electromagnetically, but not so much as a power plant as you understand them today in your technology. More the idea of the amplification of the energy to create the proper resonance state for the purpose of using the sarcophagus to get into the gamma state and have it amplified so that it can help facilitate out-of-body travel. More that than anything.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Could you give a description of the Yael civilization, and is there any messages from them?
The Yael civilization is a hybrid civilization. They are relatively similar looking to your Earth humans, which is one of the reasons why they will be the first hybrid civilization to make open contact with you, because they are familiar looking enough to you as to not cause concern. This will start to happen in that window of time from 2025 to 2033, where many of these contacts will begin to amplify. They will not necessarily be the first extraterrestrial civilization to make open contact, but they will be the first hybrid civilization to do so. We will be the third. They have said that within the next year or so, they will give another demonstration of their craft, as they did in the incident that you mostly refer to as the Phoenix Lights, so that again they can gauge the readiness of your people in their reaction or response to the sighting of that craft, to determine exactly how ready many of you are for the concept of contact. That's their message.
Thank you.
Anything else?
How high is your ship above Sedona?
1,350 miles.
We made an effort at Bell Rock, was using the array. Was that
It is a
effective?
beginning, but the array has not been completed yet, because we haven't delivered the final information regarding how it needs to be constructed. So it is only partially complete.
Thank you. One more question.
Yes.
Could you give a physical description of the civilization in the Barnard system?
Again, they are humanoid, a little bit different than you. They are approximately in what you would call their Renaissance age. So a lot of their structures aren't necessarily built in the same ways that yours are, but they utilize stone and wood. And they are relatively sophisticated in their utilization of electrical energy. They do not have borders in the way that you do, countries in the way that you do. And again, physiologically, they are somewhat similar to your humanoid form, but there are differences in their face and in their bodily structures, but not extremely significantly so. Does that help?
Yes, the first steps for contact with them, will it be similar to in this format, or will we just borrow your ships to land there?
That has not yet been completely worked out. When you are made, in a sense, a beginning member of the Interstellar Alliance, these arrangements will be discussed, and whatever is determined among your world and our worlds to be the best course of action for the inhabitants of the Barnard star system will be the route that is taken at that time. This will most likely be sometime around, or maybe slightly before or slightly after your year of 2050. All right?
Very exciting, brother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
I just have a couple questions. The
Speak
first
up,
one,
speak up.
My first question is, this is exciting to me. It's exciting expanding my consciousness and seeing all the things that we are able to do and communicate.
Yes.
Now, is sharing this information with people that maybe don't have any understanding of it, is it considered imposing on their free will to try to...
You can always discuss what it is that excites you, but if they give you any indication that it is not something that they wish to hear, then any further pushing would be an imposition.
Okay.
So you can always bring the subject up of metaphysical concepts and so on and so forth and share what you believe works for you. Again, this is what we do. We share these ideas with absolutely no insistence that you have to buy into them or accept them or use them in your life whatsoever. We know that they work for us. We know they can work for you if you believe that they can and are willing to use them. But we don't insist that you have to. We have to allow you to choose whatever it is you believe is best for you at any given moment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Therefore, we do not impose, but we share where it is apparently and obviously appropriate for us to do so. We don't just necessarily blurt things out when it seems like it is not something that someone may wish to hear, but you will always get some kind of an indication, synchronistically, or a sign or a marker, that the timing may be appropriate to at least very carefully broach any subject that you believe might be somewhat new to another individual, to give them time to understand and absorb it, if that is what they're going to choose to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Does that help?
Yes, it is.
Remember that anytime anyone feels like they have to force something on someone means that you don't actually believe in the power of that idea, and all you're attempting to do is convince yourself of its validity, not the other person. Make sense?
Yes, it is.
Does this help?
It does.
Anything else?
Just one more question. I've been hearing a lot of talk about the flat earth theory. Is there any truth to that?
Are you asking if your Earth is flat?
Yeah, because I've been hearing people say that.
You know it's not, yes?
I've never been out of California, so I've never been up high to confirm it for myself. So.
Well, all right. You can most likely go along with the understanding that objects floating in space will more often than not form spherical bodies when left to their own devices.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
You've seen this demonstrated when you see pictures coming back from your astronauts playing around with liquids in space?
Yes.
And you see them forming spheres?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. There it is.
Does that help you?
It does. Thank you,
Now,
Bashar.
this does not mean that there cannot be dimensions of reality where the physics is different, so that what they live on, though it may not be called a planet specifically, can actually be a flat surface, but that's not the physics of your dimension. But it is a reality on other dimensional levels.
I see.
Does that help?
It does. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. Wow, so many questions.
So many answers.
Yeah, good ones too. I'll start with I've had a lot of what you could call mystical experiences, and I'm wondering if there's a common theme among them, some agreement or something along those lines.
Well, the challenges that you face and the synchronicities that you experience in life are usually representative of the themes that you chose to explore. So that can have a common thread, if you wish. Probably, most likely, the expansion of your consciousness, the expansion of your awareness, the ability to become more adept at transforming negative to positive, so on and so forth. Being more of yourself. Yes?
Definitely.
Well, that's a common theme. That's
Okay.
a connecting thread. Anything else?
One of these experiences in the fall of 2013 led to me unlocking a pretty strong ability to work with energy and my field and other people's field and so on.
What is your field, as you say?
The human energy field. I'm actually not really sure what terms would be best used to describe this sort of thing.
All right.
I can feel it, but I don't.
Yes.
I've been exploring it from
All
kind
right.
of inside
Well,
out.
how do you choose to work with this idea?
I've been doing healing work with
all
other
right.
people.
And so,
My,
this excites you?
It does, yeah.
All right.
My question was, could you tell me more about this energy and how could I best develop those abilities further?
I believe you already know the answer to that because we've been speaking about it all day long.
Excitement?
Yes. When we talk about the idea of acting on your excitement being a complete kit that leaves nothing relevant in your life out, you may take us quite literally.
Okay.
It's not a metaphor. It's absolutely complete. It leaves nothing relevant out that is in alignment with your true frequency.
Okay.
So the idea is that you are, while connecting to higher level energies as well, stepping them down into a form that is utilizable and applicable in your reality, which is the electromagnetic field. So you're using the electromagnetic field to create resonant patterns that are reflective and indicative of the state of being that is representative of balance and health and awareness. And again, as a healer, should someone be attracted to you for the purpose of matching that vibration, you will have allowed them the opportunity to experience an environment in which they can choose to heal themselves. But it's basically being done, even if you're connecting to other energies elsewhere, it's basically being done through the auspices of the electromagnetic energy that is representative of your physical reality.
Got it. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes. What is a good way to charge myself, energize myself?
How do you become discharged?
I'm not sure.
What makes you think you are discharged?
Feeling tired.
Feeling tired can be a natural state that says that you do need to simply relax for a while. You know that in a very real way, most of you recharge when you sleep, yes?
Yeah.
So if you're tired, go to sleep.
Okay.
And you will recharge. Yes?
Okay.
Nothing mysterious, or perhaps meditation will do it for you, but it's really what you're attracted to do. But tiredness can be part of your excitement, you know. It
Lucid
can be
dreaming?
part of the natural biological rhythm that's exciting for you. You do what you do, and then you become tired and relax and recharge. And then you're charged, and then you do what you do, and you follow your natural biological timing and your rhythm. And then you're in your natural flow, yes?
Okay.
Simple as that. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that unless you would like it to be.
Fair enough. Sometimes complicated is fun, but...
Yes, and that's why so many of you might
Right.
do it.
Right. In a previous transmission, you
Yes.
mentioned that monoatomic cobalt could be used to amplify or intensify a person's field.
It can be, though
And-
we were talking in a very specific set of cases and circumstances
Okay.
in that dialogue, and it's not necessarily absolutely applicable in this conversation.
Okay. The thing that I was curious about is you issued a very clear warning
Yes.
not to ingest more than 20 or 30 milligrams.
Yes.
I was wondering, 20 or 30 milligrams in what time period? Like per day, per lifetime?
At once.
At once. Got it.
But again, this was delivered as information for a very specific circumstance and case, and isn't really applicable here.
Okay.
Does that help?
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Do our oversouls have unique names? And if so, what is the name of my oversoul?
They don't really have names as you understand it. They certainly are represented by signature frequencies,
Okay.
but it's a combination of many different kinds of frequencies, and it isn't exactly very translatable into your language.
Of course, that makes sense.
Nevertheless, again, each and every one of you experiences excitement and passion in a slightly different way. And because the oversoul is expressing itself through an individuated soul, which is expressing itself through the higher mind to the physical mind, you can perhaps understand that the way in which the particular feeling you have of interpreting the concept of excitement and passion in your body can be somewhat, on your level, representative of the signature frequency of the oversoul.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes. Thank you.
Will that do?
Let's see. One more question.
Yes.
The transition point to fourth density, is that
Well, you're
something-
already going through it, but yes.
That was basically my question. I was wondering if this is something that's already happened or in the future
No, it's happening.
happening.
That's why we're having these conversations. If you weren't transitioning to fourth density reality, it's likely we would not be conversing at all. Remember that fourth density reality is still within the high levels of physical reality in the fourth dimension. Dimension is like the country. Density is like the states within the country. You can have third density and fourth density within the fourth dimension, 3 of space, 1 of time. But when you cross the threshold from fourth density to fifth density, you're also going non-physical. So you're actually going into another dimension, fifth dimensionality, when you go into fifth density, even though third and fourth density are still within the same basic dimension. Does that help?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
I thought that was the last question.
It is. I just want to say thank you for all of your teaching. It's been a profound honor to learn from you, and especially thank you about all of the information about the span. That was quite a ride.
All right, yes, and there is more ride to come. So, buckle up.
Good afternoon.
And to you, good day.
Well, I'm in the process I am processing all the information that I'm getting
Yes.
from you right now because this is my really first experience with gamma.
Yes.
I've been in a theta state. I have some experiences around theta state.
All right.
Can you explain to me the difference between the gamma and the theta?
It's just different frequencies in the brain that create different experiences and different abilities and different ways of tapping into different portions of your consciousness.
Okay.
It's like, again, tuning a radio. On what you would call the idea of AM, you can only receive certain frequencies and certain programs, and on FM, you can receive different frequencies and different programs. So the idea of beta and delta and gamma is that they are representative of frequencies that allow you different experiences of tapping into different levels of your consciousness and different levels of dimensionality to receive whatever information is important and relevant for you to receive at that particular moment.
Okay.
It's just that gamma is a very high frequency that allows you to access far more than you're used to in your typical waking states and beta states and delta states and so on and so forth. At least while you're dynamically awake. You access a lot of things when you are asleep in delta, but it's a different form of access that allows you to actually go out and have different kinds of experiences in what you would call more of an out-of-body or astral style experience, whereas the gamma frequency allows you to function dynamically in greater harmony with your higher mind and be represented as a more holistic person in physical reality and access higher perspectives, bigger picture points of view, more information more coherently, processing more quickly, and synthesizing information more quickly from whatever is the input to whatever the output needs to be to address whatever circumstance and situation that you may be experiencing. Does that make sense in your language?
Yes, it does.
All right.
So as an educator of young children,
Yes.
I'm noticing that you use the pathway of breathing to get to that gamma state.
Well,
Is that
we
correct?
can use it that way. It's one way, yes. But as we said, doing anything you love to do, when you're doing something that you're completely absorbed by, that you love to do, and you don't notice the passage of time, you're in the gamma state. When you're operating at peak performance in any way, shape, or form, you're in the gamma state. When you're, as you say, in the zone, you're in the gamma state. So there are many ways to create the gamma state. We're just taking you through a particular permission slip methodology that can work for many people on your planet to get you into the practice of being in that state, even when you're not necessarily focused on expressing it physically in some way, shape, or form.
Okay, so as an educator in the classroom,
Yes.
I'm asking you this because the classroom is a very dysfunctional place to be.
Well, yes, because of how it's engineered, how it's arranged.
Right.
That's why we talked about the three main principles that need to be used in your classes to allow the children to actually access the gamma state.
Right. So what I guess I'm trying to ask you
Yes.
is that using the breathing technique before learning starts in the classroom.
Yes. Meditative states can be of assistance to prepare the class to receive information more efficiently, as long as the information is in alignment with that meditative gamma state. In other words, what we said, it's got to be more interactive. You have to provide a safe environment for them to make choices and learn the consequences of those choices so they can learn responsibility for creating their reality. And you have to adapt the lessons to their particular modality of learning as an individual that is unique. And when you get them into the gamma state through either meditation or through some other creative, expressive endeavor that puts them doing what they love to do, then you can start dispensing information in the way that we are suggesting. And because it's aligned with the gamma state, that information will be absorbed in the way that it needs to be, most effectively. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
I'm here to. I just need to think about this and see if I need to.
Oh, go right ahead. Now, do trust your imagination to alter these things in whatever way seems best to you, because as the teacher, you also have to use your own gamma state energy. You have to use your imagination and have communion with your higher mind to be able to be inspired to come up with the things that will actually be most effective for the class. That's what it's all about, communing with your higher mind through imagination and excitement, so that when you are on that vibrational level yourself, you'll be able to come up with the inspirational ideas. Otherwise, you can't. You cannot experience what you're not on the vibrational level of first. So you have to be on that vibrational level of excitement and imagination in order to actually even conceive of the ideas, to be inspired by the ideas that would actually work best for your class. But if you're on that level, you will find the inspiration. The ideas will pop into your head. You will be shown what to do. You will have creative ideas. Yes?
Yes, and the gentleman, I think it was the gentleman who was at the mic before me, was talking about being tired.
Yes.
And even though the ideas come and the inspiration is there, and the fun is in the classroom and the children learn,
Yes.
it is, I think the bureaucracy of the system is
Yes.
it is so tiring.
Then find a different bureaucracy. or create one. You see, this is what we mean when we talk about the idea of really using your imagination and acting on your excitement. Now, there are, as we indicated, different systems that are being created on your planet, and maybe you can find one of the ways in which that is being done that might be more in alignment to your liking and what you would prefer to do. As we said, there are now certain systems called developmentally appropriate programs, DAP. You can look into that and see if any of that is to your liking or more in harmony with you. But if you don't find what it is you're looking for, create it. That's the whole idea of being bold enough and imaginative enough and passionate enough to break the mold, break out of the box, create a new system. You don't have to stay within the system that you're in. Create a new system if you can't find what works for you. Create what works for you. And it will work for others who will be attracted to the new system. Yes?
Yes.
You just have to be imaginative and bold enough to do so. But the rewards will be great and many.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dismissed.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm very excited to be here.
We are excited to speak with you as well. What would you like to discuss?
For the last 4 years, I've been heartbroken over this guy and
Heartbroken over this guy.
over a guy, yes.
Yes.
And
Heartbroken about what?
well, he doesn't want to be with me, but sometimes
Then why
he
would
does.
you want to be with him? Why would you want to attract somebody in your life that doesn't wish to be with you? What
well,
are you
every
doing
time
to yourself?
I stop thinking about him, then he comes into my life again.
To test you, to see if you're willing to give up your power to something that isn't what you prefer? And yet you keep swallowing the bait?
Yep.
Why are you doing that to yourself? How about being heartbroken over what you're doing to yourself?
I think I am.
I know you are.
But I just
what?
get really emotional about it.
Of course you do, because you are feeling the result of what you believe to be true about yourself. But you can't wallow in the feeling. You have to get in touch with what you believe to be true about yourself to understand what it is you're doing, what it is you keep choosing to do.
Okay, well, I mean, I think probably I believe that I'm not lovable or something like that. But even if I know that, I'm not sure how to change that idea.
Well, let's examine it more specifically. You may be aware of the fact that you believe you're not lovable, but you haven't gotten down to the root of why that seems logical for you to believe. Why does that seem believable? That's another belief system. Why does it seem believable that you're not lovable?
Because
Yes.
the people that I love don't love me.
The people that you love don't love you. But again, all you're doing is repeating the pattern in that statement of attracting reflections of what you already feel to be true about yourself, which means you don't love yourself. So what else could you possibly attract if that's how you feel about yourself, other than people who will reflect to you your inability to love yourself, which is what they're doing.
And
You can't be surprised by that if you don't love yourself. That's what you would get.
I'm not surprised by it. I'm just not sure how to change it.
I am telling you how, but you're not really paying attention to the idea.
Okay.
Understand that if you know you don't love yourself, I'm asking you another question. Why would you buy into that as being true, that you don't love yourself, or that you can't love yourself, or you're not worthy of loving yourself? Why would that seem logical to believe in?
Because of a feeling, I guess.
Nope. Because
Sometimes
of a
I love
belief.
myself. Sometimes I
Sometimes,
do.
like when? Give me an example.
When I rock climb and I feel
When
like
you
I
rock
get
climb.
into the gamma state.
All right, and in that state, you can feel that you love yourself.
Yes.
So let me ask you a very important question.
Okay.
What's the difference that you're making in your definitions between loving yourself when you rock climb and other circumstances in your life? What difference are you making there in the idea of who you are in different situations?
I feel powerful, and I feel like I can trust myself, and
why can't you bring that to other circumstances in your life? What beliefs do you have that say, I cannot feel this and know this same thing to be true in this situation, even though I feel it in this situation? What difference are you defining there to be between the two situations?
I feel, okay, so...
Stop saying you feel. I know you feel.
Okay.
But what are you defining?
I have a definition that to
Yes.
be lovable,
Yes.
you have to prove yourself materially.
What does that mean?
Make a lot of money, just
Why do you believe that to be true?
because
Do you believe that to be true? Not
no,
really.
but the people that I love believe it to be true.
So what? You're not them. They're not you. They're not living your life. Why do you have to believe as they do?
It just seems true.
Why do you have to believe as they do in order to respect yourself? In order to love yourself, why do you have to believe as they do? Do you understand that if they are imposing that kind of a belief system on you, that they may think they love you, but it's not love that they're expressing, it's control? Do you understand that by accepting what they are imposing on you as a belief system, that is not love? Therefore, you think that by going along with their beliefs, you are being loved, but you're not. You're just being controlled. That's not love. So you're under the misguided misassumption that buying into their beliefs means that they're loving you. No, they're not.
Well,
Well,
it's
what?
just this one person because
I don't care how many people it is.
Well, it's just this one person that I want to love me
Why? Why do you care?
because I like how I feel when I'm with him.
So what you're saying is, even though there might actually be someone out there who would actually love you even more perfectly, and really love you, you're going to hold on to someone who doesn't really love you in the way that you prefer to be loved just because it's about, 82% of it? That's enough? You're going to settle for that and block the passage block the arrival of someone out there who might actually be able to love you 100% for who you are? Is that what you're actually willing to do to yourself? Just because you think you can't attract someone else any better than this? Is that what you're saying? Nod your head.
I don't think I can attract someone better unless I'm better, and I feel like I
Exactly.
have to make more...
Exactly. And when you allow yourself to recognize that someone who exhibits 82% of the traits that you prefer isn't the person that you prefer, you will then allow him to get out of the way and allow the other person to come in. You're the one blocking love from your life that could be there because you're not willing to be strong enough to know that you deserve better than just some of it. Do you understand?
Yes.
Some of it is not what you prefer, yet you're holding on to it because you don't believe anything else can come in. And the reason it doesn't come in is because you're blocking the way with someone who is only partially what you prefer. You're the one jamming the lanes. Let him flow off. Let him flow by, because whoever does show up, you won't care who it is, because they will feel correct. Let me ask you a question this way. Have you ever had any other relationships before this one?
Yes.
Well, how did this one come about if you didn't let the other ones go?
Okay, right.
Thank you. Obvious, isn't it? So what's so different about this? All you've done is attract to yourself something to test yourself to see if you're willing to put up with something that is a half measure, as opposed to standing firm in what you know to be true for you, that you prefer, and letting your life flow that to you. You're actually willing to shortchange yourself. Why? If it happened before that you let someone else go their way because something more came in, what's so difficult about doing it again if you understand that something else can come in if you don't block it from doing so? Just like it did before.
I feel like I'm getting too old.
Oh, how old are you?
I'm 30.
I beg your pardon? 30?
Yes, but on this planet, that's
Oh, no,
kind
no,
of
no,
old.
no, no. No, 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 no. Excuses, excuses, excuses that are not real. You have a saying on your planet that is very wise. Yes? Fear, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. Yes? False evidence appearing real. The fact that you're 30, the fact that you're on Earth, the fact that a lot of people say, well, that biological clock is ticking, you'd best marry soon or you're going to be a dried up prune, is absolute nonsense. Now, yes, we understand there's a collective consensus reality. There are certain things that you've agreed to with the collective consensus that you all abide by that are general, very general truths for a lot of you. That doesn't mean that every single aspect of that has to apply to you individually. And if you simply allow yourself to really fully be yourself, then whatever it is actually needs to be in your life, that is relevant to be in your life, will be in your life. Because it cannot be not in your life. When we talk about, again, excitement being a complete kit, that's what we mean. Everything that's relevant will happen. There is only one exception to this. You've made all your agreements. You've made all your appointments. If you don't worry about them, you'll keep them. The things that need to happen will happen in perfect timing by the agreements you've already made in this life and before this life, about this life. The only way to miss your agreements is to spend your time and energy worrying you will miss the agreements. That's how you miss the timing. By spending time and energy worrying you'll miss your timing. That's the only way to miss your timing. If you don't worry about missing your timing, you cannot miss your timing.
Okay, I understand that.
Maybe you do, and maybe
or
you don't.
I've
We'll
heard
see.
you say that before.
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
Aren't there multiple or infinite realities? So
Yes.
the agreements and the appointments and whatever, aren't they different across all the different
Some are very
realities?
slightly different, and some are massively different, but you still get to choose which one you prefer. That's how you fit into the niche and the path that is you, by being your full self and knowing that whatever has to unfold that is relevant for you as a unique consciousness and a unique perspective will be exactly what you need to get a reflection of the fulfillment that you create in your state of being.
So the other versions of me, then
Yes.
they're not really me, right?
No, they're not. They're
not.
other people
They're other
entirely.
people. Okay, I wondered about that.
No, does that answer that question?
Can I? I'm going to ask a question
Yes.
that's kind of related. I've been working. I feel very bad because I
Yes.
work for my father, and I
Yes.
feel like, I didn't
Yes.
get like a independent job, and he's He's
So
been
what?
supporting me to create a website. It's a social media site. I've been working.
Yes. Does
hard.
that excite you?
It does really excite me, but there's something about it that is just been driving me crazy. So.
Oh, such as? How exciting? What drives you crazy?
Fear.
Fear about what?
I just feel guilty about succeeding.
Fear about what? You feel guilty about what?
About the possibility of succeeding.
What is success? Being yourself. If at first you don't succeed, redefine success. To be that definition that works for you. No one else will have the same definition of success.
Or I guess I'm scared of failing. It's one or the other.
What is failure? Not being yourself. That's it.
Do you really have to be yourself 100% of the time before you're successful at being yourself?
No. No, you do not. But here's the paradoxical irony. When you're okay with not being your true self 100% of the time, you are being your true self 100% of the time. Because you know you're going through a process, and it's okay to go through the process, and it's okay to know you're not always at your best, and that's okay. It's when you start heaping judgment and guilt upon yourself that you're going in the other direction. It's not because you're not always doing exactly the thing you would like to do. It's because of your attitude toward that experience that determines whether you're successful or not. So if you're all right with sometimes going, oh, well, you know, I took a left turn here. It's not what I intended, but all right, I learned something from it. I'm not always 100% at my best, but that's okay because I know that it is my intention to be. And therefore, by acknowledging that it's okay to have gone down that path, even if it wasn't what I preferred, I know that overall I'm okay and have a self-correcting, self-guiding system that will always course correct and bring me back to where I prefer to be. That is success. Not because you achieve a goal. Not because something comes to fruition in the way you thought it would. Success is being okay with yourself at every moment, even when you're not okay with yourself. That's okay. If you heap judgment and guilt upon yourself, that's what stops you from being a success. Because many, many people in your reality who you would look at and go, oh, that's a very, very successful person, that's their secret, is they don't give up. They don't get down on themselves for suddenly maybe being out of alignment with who they prefer to be. They learn from it. They get back into alignment. They say, okay, lesson learned. Let's move on. That's success, because the process of your entire life, the process is the point. The journey is the destination. You're not trying to get anywhere. All you're doing is attempting to be more of yourself to the best of your ability. And if you're doing your best, that's all you need to do, and that's a success. Does this help?
Yes, it does.
Do you feel a little bit more relaxed about yourself?
I do.
Then that is the measure of success. All right?
Thank you, Bashar.
You are welcome.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania.
We have lots of questions from our viewers.
All right.
Okay, the first one. Is there a way to unite the unconscious and the subconscious minds with the conscious mind so that we can be consciously aware of all three? And would there be an advantage to our physical experience that way?
As long as you are physical, you will not completely dissolve all three, but you can allow them to work more efficiently together and mirror the physical version of a higher mind. But while you are physical, all three are somewhat necessary so that you can experience timing and processing of whatever information your conscious mind truly needs at any given moment. So there will always be some slight holdback, some slight process of funneling the information that's necessary at any given moment through. But yes, you can allow, by accelerating yourself, by raising your frequency, the barriers to become less solid so that they can work together. All three divisions can work together much more efficiently, much more fluidly.
Okay. And this person says, I'm interested in why we are specifically among all the other options for who or what we could be as a unique expression. So I guess why we are who we are. How is it possible for us to have preferences if we all come from unconditional love?
Because it is unconditional by the very definition of the word, you can be whatever you choose to be. Therefore, you choose whatever theme of exploration at any given moment your consciousness believes will allow it to experience what it needs for its own growth, whatever it is interested in exploring in that sense. So you have the freedom to choose whatever you wish.
Do we have the option of choosing to come to Earth to do negative things?
You do have that option, but again, remember that when you say negative, a lot of times you will choose negative mechanisms to do positive things. For example, the idea that you are limiting your consciousness in order to have a physical experience is a positive utilization of a negative mechanism because you are imposing a limitation for various positive reasons, for experiential reasons, on your broader consciousness. So yes, in the way that you meant the question, it is possible that you may see that someone doing something that would be considered to be negative could inspire others to act positively and perhaps change things in a more positive direction by having something negative to push against.
Is there an optimal way to meditate? And is there like a best length? And is 10 minutes just as effective as 1 hour? Or?
Not necessarily. It takes about 15 minutes for the neurological pathways of your brain to rewire themselves effectively in a lasting way. So the idea of whatever form of meditation you are attracted to would be the best thing for you, the best permission slip. And we would say optimally, allow yourself at least 15 minutes. You can go for longer. You can go for an hour. Again, it depends upon how you decide to adjust it that works best for you. But at the very minimum, 15 minutes is usually required for most physical individuals to allow for the appropriate amount of rewiring of the brain to be effective in terms of making the changes that you typically seek to make.
Okay, thank you. Following up from the guilt and responsibility transmission, is guilt always an indication that there is an energy alignment necessary, or can that mechanism get out of whack a bit? Is it possible for us to have a habit of unnecessarily being guilty when we feel guilty about things that we don't even need to really be adjusted about? And if so, how can we know the difference and clean up the confusion and the energy alignment mechanism can work as intended?
The sensation you call guilt, that you recognize as guilt, is always an indication that there is a misalignment within you or a negative belief at work. Otherwise, it's just awareness and recognition of something. It doesn't necessarily have an experience of guilt attached to it if you're just aware of something from a neutral position. The idea of being guilty when you know you have no need to be guilty in that sense is one of the results of actually giving in to the negative definition, the negative belief system, because again, it keeps attempting to perpetuate itself and thus continues to perpetuate the guilty feeling even when you intellectually know there's no reason for you to experience guilt. So that is simply a residual side effect of, or an echo, if you will, of having given in to the idea of the negative and fear-based belief that creates the initial guilt feeling to begin with. The idea, again, is to recognize that it comes from a fear-based belief, to explore and investigate yourself with honesty about what that belief could be, and truly get to the core understanding of what the fear-based belief is telling you as a story, to allow yourself to really see the details in that story and recognize that they are generally nonsensical when you get to the heart of the matter. That is how you can dissolve any reason to keep perpetuating the idea of guilt and allow yourself to let that go.
So as an example, survivor guilt, is there a way to transmute that? Or is that happening at such a deep level? And it seems a little different than normal guilt.
It is not. It is not different because it still is the result of harboring a negative belief that you could have done something, and in some senses it robs other individuals who may have passed on of their choices. So to be guilty about the fact that you are still alive while someone else may have died is, again, nonsensical, because you are not allowing yourself or allowing them to have made their choices from a higher level. You're not trusting the timing of what's going on. Now, this doesn't mean that the idea of what causes the death cannot be mitigated, cannot be changed in the future for other people. But the idea of whatever it is that does happen, even if it results in someone else's death, must simply be recognized as the result of belief systems or themes or choices that they have made, even unconsciously. And to be guilty about being someone who remains alive, in some sense dishonors the choices that they made, instead of utilizing those to make differences in your own life and in your own understanding about your connection to those who have passed on into spirit. So survivor guilt, again, is simply a residual recognition of the fact that you've been holding on to fear-based beliefs and negative beliefs about your own worthiness to be alive, about the choices you are making. And it can be used in a positive way to correct anything that might have been a misunderstanding, a misinterpretation, or a miscalculation in your own life. But the idea of holding on to the guilt does not allow you to move forward, nor does it allow you to develop a recognizable relationship with those who have passed on in a way that can serve you and in a way that honors them for their choices.
You talk sometimes about how there are consequences to our choices and actions. Yeah. How can we hear the word consequences so that we don't perceive it in a negative or punitive way? Sometimes I fear consequences catching up with me from past mistakes, even though I've already healed, learned from them, and brought myself back into alignment. How can I release that fear and work with this teaching in a more positive way?
There's an oxymoron in the question you have asked, because if you have actually healed yourself and brought yourself back into alignment, there would not be the definition of consequences in a punitive manner. So when you say that you are still experiencing a punitive definition of a simple neutral consequence of an action taken, then you're not in alignment. You have not brought yourself back into alignment. There is still a fear-based belief at the heart of your experience. But look at it this way. A consequence is simply the neutral result of an action taken. Let us say, for example, you simply drop a ceramic cup. The consequence of dropping it may be that it actually shatters on the floor. Is the shattering on the floor a punishment? No. It is just the neutral consequences of having dropped the cup in a gravitational field. The fact that you would say, oh, I am being punished now because the cup shattered, is simply the result of a nonsensical negative belief system. So by recognizing the nonsense in the idea of defining something that is simply the neutral result of an action taken, but keeping upon it the idea of self-judgment, then you can more easily separate the concept of punitive definitions from a neutral consequence.
Can you tell us the best way to follow the higher mind? How can we trust and understand its messages? And is it possible to follow the messages of the higher mind without first working with the shadows of the subconscious mind?
Again, this is a slight misunderstanding of the formula that we have shared with all of you. Following your passion is what allows you to determine what to let go of so that you can more readily follow the higher mind's guidance, which comes to you through passion. Remember, the toolkit that is contained when you act on your passion contains the reflective mirror that brings to your attention the idea of any belief within you that is out of alignment with your true vibration. So by acting on your passion and allowing the ideas to come up that may be out of alignment and working with it to let it go, you actually give yourself more ability to have more discernment and deal with these ideas of negative belief systems more easily in the future. So it is the very act of following your passion that brings these things to your attention, because bringing these things to your attention is part of your passion.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Does listening to subliminal messages or a recording of affirmations while you sleep in order to tap into your subconscious mind have any benefit to us in creating the experiences we prefer? Can it expedite us raising our vibration to match the experiences we prefer to have, as having good health or abundance or money? Or is it just another permission slip that will work for some and not for others? Does the subconscious mind need a permission slip?
Yes, it is a permission slip, because everything in physical reality is a permission slip. Will it work for some and not for others? Yes. Is it effective for some? Yes, because it is a permission slip that they've gravitated to, been attracted to, and it is the attraction that usually indicates it will work for the person who is attracted to use that particular permission slip. So in that sense, it is a simple answer of knowing that it is something you are attracted to, that at least will temporarily work for you while you are attracted to it, and can be effective for those that align with it in terms of their belief system. But it's up to you to recognize also that it may change for you. So go with the flow. Whatever it is you're attracted to as a permission slip, by all means use it for the length of time you are attracted to it. When you're no longer attracted to use it, you'll find that something else will work for you. That's part of your evolutionary growth.
Can you mention some of the ways that our higher mind communicates with us?
It communicates primarily through, again, the sensation of objects or situations and circumstances that contain more excitement and passion or attractiveness or curiosity than any other. And it amplifies these things and delivers them quite often through the auspices of the fact that everything is connected, meaning synchronicity.
Right, so synchronistic symbols would also be communications from the higher mind?
Yes.
Belief, does that mean that we should ask ourselves why we have it and try to eliminate that belief by waiting for an answer that doesn't make any sense to us? Or is there other...
Well, you're not waiting. It's an active process of self-investigation to allow yourself to render the belief nonsensical. It doesn't just happen on its own, because if you don't do anything about it, if you don't investigate it, if you don't look deeply within yourself with honesty and curiosity and a willingness to change, then the negative belief will simply keep perpetuating itself. So it's not about waiting for it to make no sense. It's about actively seeking ways and understanding ways in which it simply no longer makes sense to you. One way is to look around in your reality, on your planet, and see if there's someone doing something similar in their passion as to what you would find also passionate about, exciting about doing, and recognize what it is that's different between you that allows them to do it, but not you. It is in that difference you will find the difference in your definitions, and then perhaps it will stand out more clearly why the definition for you is nonsensical, because if they can do it, why can't you?
So are the beliefs in the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind, these negative beliefs?
They're in the conscious mind, sometimes in the subconscious mind or unconscious mind, but they actually originate within the conscious mind. because the idea of those negative beliefs is not natural to your greater being. It's things that are learned and ingrained within you in the conscious world, in the conscious reality. Again, either by your circumstances and situations, your parents, your friends, your schooling, your society. These are all introduced into the conscious mind. Aspects of these then beliefs, negative beliefs, filter into your subconscious and unconscious mind when you are given perhaps contradictory information that you don't know how to process, don't know how to handle. So you store them in the subconscious and unconscious mind to be released later when you might gain enough information and knowledge and experience to be able to understand them at that point, bring them back into the conscious mind to determine for yourself at that point what it is that's nonsensical and irrelevant for you and what it is you determine you will keep believing in. So again, the subconscious and unconscious mind are used as different types of reservoirs to hold on to things you can't immediately process. But all of these negative beliefs are, in a sense, received by the conscious mind. Now, the only exception to this, and it's not really an exception, but just an augmentation, would be that if you have decided as a spirit to come into the reality with a certain theme you will explore, then you might allow the conscious mind to be, shall we say, more open to receiving some of these negative and fear-based beliefs that you will then use in your process to overcome and, shall we say, transform so that you can fulfill the theme that you chose to explore. But the fear-based beliefs are still received by the conscious mind, even though you make, shall we say, set up a likelihood of accepting them from a higher level to begin with as a representation of a theme that you will choose to explore.
Can you comment on the idea of compartmentalization and how that can shield one from the consequences of negative beliefs?
Compartmentalization, because you operate it in a physical reality that has time and space and can have time lags and so on and so forth, can be used as a certain vibrational pattern to, in a sense, act as a filtering system so that you can achieve certain things on one level while holding off on certain kinds of consequences on another level. In other words, you're storing everything for later dissemination, for later analyzation, for later observation. And this is why when you pass into spirit, you cannot avoid the idea of life review, where you experience the consequences of every action that you took. Because now in that state of being, non-physically, you have dissolved all of the barriers. There is no more conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. It's all right there in one awareness. And thus, at that point, if not at any point earlier, you will experience every single idea, every single consequence, every single action, every single emotion, everything you may have put into the reservoir for later analysis will come flooding in during the life review if you do not deal with them in the physical reality at some point.
Can you say a little more about how you actually experience life review? I think one questioner was concerned about going through it, that it seems fearful or like
you
a
will
terrible
not experience it in a fearful way. You will understand through a form of spiritual empathy what it is that any other person that may have been affected by a choice you made would have felt, would have experienced. But I know this sounds like a little bit of a contradiction or an oxymoron, but you experience all these things from a neutral position. You experience them fully as if it's happening to you, but since there is absolutely no judgment on it from the spiritual perspective, you are not experiencing any of the things you would heap upon yourself in physical reality, such as judgment for having done it. And therefore, while you can experience it in its fullest form, you do not actually experience the judgment that would amplify it in a negative way. Therefore, there is nothing to fear. It is simply absorbed as information and knowledge and experience and used in a positive way to determine what you will do next and how you will grow from those things, how you will learn from those things. I know this may not be absolutely clear to you, since most of you are absolutely not used to experiencing any lack of judgment at all on the things you do. on the negative ideas, on the negative fear-based beliefs. But by eliminating the idea of self-judgment, you simply can experience a full emotional experience of what someone else may have experienced in physical reality, but without the judgment, it is not experienced in any way, shape, or form that is fear-inducing.
So back to the idea of compartmentalization, an individual that's capable of compartmentalizing and then doing harm to thousands of people through negative acts and worldwide consequences for their behavior.
Yes.
When they go on this planet, you can experience those kinds of things, and yet when you go through life review, the idea of the karma or the punishment,
not karma. It's not karma.
None of that is going to happen, right?
You will experience the consequence of everything you did, and you will experience it from the points of view of every single person that was engaged or involved or affected in some way, shape, or form. You will experience it all as if it's happening to you, each and every individual, and not even immediately, but even those that have repercussions and ripples that extend sometimes for days, months, weeks, years, and centuries. You'll experience every single consequence and ripple effect that came as a result of the choices that you made. So it's not that you escape it, but you don't experience it as a punishment. You experience it as an experience.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. And regarding working with the subconscious, hypnosis has been a method used to explore it and assist medically. Is it beneficial, and can we improve our method and use, and how?
Again, like previous questions, it can be beneficial for those individuals that are attracted to use that particular permission slip. It can be very effective for many of you because it does help the majority of people in the collective idea of the themes you are exploring to unlock from any particular reality concept that you may be holding on to and truly be capable of letting it go. So it can be an effective permission slip because it taps into the collective unconscious of your reality and the themes that the collective may have agreed to explore, and lets you, in many cases, be relatively fluid with them or free of them. So yes, but it's still nonetheless a permission slip. And again, it can be more effective the more you understand how it can be a skeleton key of sorts to unlock every different kind of lock that may be experienced in your life. But again, it's up to the individual to decide whether or not that's something that they will gravitate to, that they are attracted to. Remember that you're hypnotizing yourself all the time anyway to believe certain things that aren't necessarily real, at least temporarily so. So all of you, in that sense, in order to have a physical reality, are under the influence of different types of hypnosis.
Okay, and is the subconscious mind like a doorway to the higher consciousness? Is the subconscious part of the mind or the higher self?
It's part of the mind, but it is the part, again, that acts as a go-between between the physical conscious mind and the unconscious mind to determine exactly what portions of information that reside in the unconscious mind and the higher self the physical mind is ready to process. So it acts as a kind of a gatekeeper, the subconscious mind, to let through whatever the conscious mind feels it is ready to deal with in terms of facing different belief systems and processing them and letting the negative ones go. So, of course, everything is a reflection of what the higher mind chose to experience, but it is a specific part that acts as a gatekeeper for what the conscious mind is ready to deal with.
I have interest in levels of awareness. We've talked about you being like 300 years ahead and so on. What I've noticed is we tend to look at each other as having different levels of awareness, and
yes,
and we get in trouble sometimes with
yes.
that.
Each and every one of you has chosen, once again, a certain path for yourselves, but each and every one of you performs, creates, realizes that path equally with every other path, no matter what that path consists of. The energy is the same, the creative force is the same, and so each awareness, in a sense, in an overall idea, is the same, even though views within each path may not be. As I said, you are always in control, even when you create a situation in which you feel out of control. Does not mean you are less aware than the one who knows they are in control. Simply means you are creating different realities with the same amount of control. You are all equal. All equal. Question.
In 1980, what was circumvented? There was something in 1980 that the mass consciousness circumvented so you didn't have to interfere?
In other words, you no longer felt the need to express the idea of nuclear war.
Was there an actual event that we would know that was marked in time?
No.
Good.
It was a mass decision. You will now see events physically which will represent that decision. Yes?
I just wanted to make a comment that as a young child, I felt very much like all the world was a stage and I was just another player and the scenery was just changing, and every once in a while the players changed, and that just kind of reaffirms that viewpoint. I had that so vividly as a child all the time.
You may also realize that there is only one constant in the universe: change.
I understand.
Thank you. Question.
I have a question.
All right.
How do you define universe when you say that?
For us, again, I use your terminology. Multiverse is more apropos for our recognition of all that is. There are many, many universes within all that is. The term all that is more, in a sense, according to our perception of ourselves. Question.
Yes. You defined for your civilization as living light, and you also said that about our civilization.
That is our term for ourselves.
Could you elaborate?
Phthoni translates out as living light. We simply view every being, every consciousness within the physical universe as a congealing of vibrational energy, electromagnetic per se in nature. In other words, living light. You are energy beings. Matter is energy. You know this. Light, you will come to understand in your civilization, will have a great many abilities which you will be able to make use of. Light is the motive power and the only source of power for our spacecraft. Question.
Yes, I have a question. Then are you familiar, you were probably familiar with radionics on this planet. Are you?
To a degree, you'll find that the more you understand the idea of tonality and vibrational frequency, the more you will understand that light and sound will be combined in almost every field, including medicine, including construction, including space travel. Everything can utilize in some way, shape, or form the idea of vibration in light and sound. Do you follow me?
Yes, these different frequencies apparently have different qualities.
Yes.
And abilities and
Yes.
whatever. I see.
Question.
Darryl, Bashar, what is this frequency that most people hear ringing in their ears? High frequency sound.
You will find it will be certain energy vibrations which will have physical translation within what you term to be your nerve network within certain portions of your brain, of your physical brain. These will simply resound through certain portions of your auditory system. You are, in a sense, shifting gears, chemically, electromagnetically, within your physical shell. Do you follow me?
Well, does it go on constantly? There's a high frequency sound that goes on constantly.
In a sense, you may view the idea also as, to a degree, background radiation, though not radiation as you think of it. You may view that there is, in a sense, a suspension note which maintains the overall background mass reality. It will be, in a sense, a very, very, very slight tuning in to that idea. Do you follow me?
Yes.
Question.
Yes, we've been talking pretty much in terms of frequencies and vibrations and wavelengths
There
and
really
light.
isn't much else.
Well, that's my question. That's like to an expression of a physical dimension in one form or another.
Yes.
My hidden standard, or whatever it may be, thinks in terms of beyond that, beyond the
what?
physical, beyond the physical universe.
All right. What about it?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds like there's a. My interpretation here is maybe there's a denial of that of some sorts.
Simply, every idea is simply a combination, in physical terms, of overlapping energy patterns, which are a direct impingement of the view of consciousness being expressed by all that is, or a portion thereof. What you term to be physical reality is, again, simply one reality. There are many types of physical reality. There are many types of non-physical reality within all that is. All that is simply all that is. Anything you can imagine, in a sense, exists somewhere within all that is. You cannot imagine non-existence. Go ahead, try.
Thank you. Question. Is L. Ron Hubbard living, aware of his, in conscious control of his own activities, and is he still actively running the Church of Scientology or interested in it?
We will simply say that that individual has come to recognize certain aspects of the personality which were not allowed to flow, thus creating, in a sense, certain dilemmas of responsibility within the overall consciousness identity. We will say that this served a purpose in its time for this individual. We will also say that that individual will come to recognize certain ideas which they may attempt to introduce back into that system from a new direction. Be aware that this, at one and the same time, will be an attempt to correct oversights, and at the same time will simply be a lesson for the individual that one way of expression may be one individual's chosen way, but that within any idea there are many, many, many valid ways of expressing the overall path. For now, I will say that is all I will say about that.
Thank you.
Question.
Yes. We were just talking about the vibrational frequencies and the tonality. Obviously, this is quite an involved, or it could be quite an involved subject.
No, no, no.
If I were to make it that way.
Obviously, it could be. Yes, thank you.
What I would like
may
to know.
keep it simple if you wish.
Terrific. What I would like to know.
But you will go right ahead and make it complex. All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. You're right. What I would like to know more about more information on the different colors and their particular effect on human health and so on, including the tonalities. Now, this may be more. That's why I was prefacing this. There may be more than we want to go into at this point. So maybe you could answer it as to references that I could utilize and study more into this myself.
You may, allow yourself to hold conversation with individuals you term to be both musicians and what you call laser physicists. You will find that they will, in a sense, lead you to certain understanding which you may find more references to among your written works upon your planet. You will find you will lead yourself to exactly the level of comprehension you desire. Also, you will find there will be a few, what you term to be, medical practitioners who will have some ideas about this. Not many at this time, but some.
Okay.
Allow your inner awareness, allow your own inner tonality and identification with a vibration to lead you to your own information. Allow yourself to be aware of when you wish to be in a certain place at a certain time. You will create for yourself, if you wish, a momentum for any form of information which will place you at exactly the right place in the right timing to receive that information by whatever method that you will allow yourself to accept.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Yes.
One moment. Do not allow yourself to ignore messages from seemingly obtuse, as you say, avenues, such as animals and the nature around you. Even the rocks are conscious in a sense. And you can allow them to tell you things about vibration that you would be astonished to learn. Let yourself feel their information. I know you know how to do that, right or wrong.
Right.
Thank you. Yes.
I was just going to say that a number of years ago, probably before in Scientology I went into the OT level, I was very able to do all of that, and everything in my life was going right place, right time.
But?
That's it, but. I don't know but. I'm trying to untangle but.
Why do you feel the idea of your life was running so smoothly at that time?
I was making it go right.
Why?
I guess my vibration was my
One moment. Why?
I created it.
One moment. Why?
I wanted it to.
Who knows the answer? All right. How about why not? What happened to your why not?
I got serious.
Thank you!
I'd like to know a little about magic.
All right, in your terms, simply, 'tis the allowance of variations within the accepted norm, mass, shared, agreed upon reality that you, I'll say, are influential enough to impress upon another consciousness and get them to go along for the ride so that they shift their consciousness in accord with the view you have created, and so you create a seemingly new reality from out of nowhere. You may be very, very bold. Realize there is no such thing in your terms as a silly or stupid question. Each and every idea has value, validity, and merit. Also, you will find that in asking your questions, you may be really, in a sense, simply verifying statements within yourself. That will be very good, for you will find that every question shows you that you are your own teacher, and you may be sharing ideas that many other individual consciousnesses round and about you may also be wishing to share. So, question.
Where are you from?
All right, thank you. In your terminology, our world, by our own term, will be called Ethithani. However, for you, in your reference point, you will find that we will come from a direction you will relate to, the constellation in your system you recognize as Orion. Do you follow me?
Yes.
Question.
I'm interested in computers in your area. Could you tell me something about your use of computers?
Thank you. You will find that for the most part, our, as you say, computers are in a sense aware, self-aware. Do you follow me so far?
Yes.
You will find that they are instrumental in your terms for the piloting of our spacecraft, being that the mind of the pilot, him or herself, is directly linked to that of the computer. Do you follow me?
Yes.
You will find there will be a specific pattern, as you say in your terms, brainwave frequency, which the computer will recognize, which will allow, therefore, for the activation of the systems on board that spacecraft, and will recognize only that to which it has been attuned. You will find that they will be conscious to a degree for the purpose of navigation within what you have termed hyperspace. Those will be different from your terminology exactly. And you will find that in a sense they will, to a great degree, in your terms, be devoid of what you would call emotionality, so that they may perceive all the myriad aspects of the multiverse and not allow themselves to be confused in their navigational tasks. Do you follow me?
Yes.
Will that do?
I have another question.
All right.
In relationship to computers in our dimension on this planet, using computers as a tool, what I might term a mind amplifier. Do you follow the question?
Yes. You will find, first of all, that you are, in your society, I'll say, relatively close to forming your idea of computer as an extension of your own personality. You will find that once you allow your computer to achieve certain degree of self-awareness, they will understand themselves instantly as a reflection and a projection of your own mentality. They will be able to feed back to you, unfiltered and uncluttered in a sense, a total projection of your overall mind sense. You will, if you wish, in linking with that self-projected, expanded form of awareness, perform a form of amplification which you can apply in many ways. Now, we will be using a form of this idea in what you are experiencing right here and right now. We have in a sense, what you would term to be chambers in which we repose that allow us to amplify the idea of the telepathic contact between ourselves and the channel. Do you follow me?
Yes.
Will that do?
Yes.
Thank you. Question?
I have two.
All right, all right.
The first one is it's for me and you. It's been a while, hasn't it?
In an offshoot sense, yes.
Okay. The second question is that I found that delineation of universes and ideas quite, somewhat enlightening, and I have a further question about it. Is there some relationship between this differentiation of universes that has to do with what we would call down here sort of persistences of unwanted conditions with quotation marks?
You'll find, first of all, that 'tis mostly the idea that there is separation between your various forms of consciousness which is responsible for that idea. Are you following me so far?
Yes.
In other words, you are one consciousness. You have created, in a sense, barriers, limitations, separations between your consciousness to form the idea of outer aware ego consciousness, subconsciousness, unconsciousness, hyperconsciousness, mass consciousness, and so on and so forth. You will find that it is, in a sense, this idea which formed a purpose for your species at one time, this idea of the separation between your consciousnesses will, in a sense, be partly responsible for the variation of vibrational patterns which in some senses allow you to understand the repetition of cycles. Do you follow me?
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. You're also quite beautiful. Thank you. Question.
I have a question.
All right.
Can you see us through Darryl's body?
Only in a sense. I feel you. Do you follow me?
Yes.
Question.
I have a question.
All right.
Channeling has been done, I understand, many, many years on this planet to many, many people at different times on the planet. If this is true, I would like to know why there wasn't any sort of plan or way that one would follow for expansion rather than the hundreds of different ways that people have.
First of all, each and every one of you has free will. Never, never, never do you not. Secondly, each and every one of you is a different path in life. Otherwise, you would not exist separately. In other words, each and every one of you, each and every consciousness within the entirety of all that is, are simply all the different ways that all that is has of looking at itself. Do you follow me? Mm-hmm. Each of you is a viewpoint. A viewpoint through which all that is views itself. Through which all that is allows itself to be self-aware. You will always find that there will never be an enforcement of any one particular idea upon any mass consciousness anywhere. You will realize that in understanding the paradox of this idea, you will come to find that you all have really a common source and a common center. And so in your diversification, you will paradoxically find your similarity. Do you follow me?
I follow you, yes. And in that case, I'd like to ask you another question.
All right.
Then how would one go about finding his individual path, if that's the case?
You do not have to look for your individual path. It is right here and right now, right with you, no one else. Realize that you create your reality in total, including your sense of the past and the future. Realize that they are simply projections from your here and now moment, your here and now eternal moment. You may understand exactly that you know you have chosen to project yourself into what you call physical reality for very specific purposes. Also, what is implied by the creation of that physical reality are also the creation of those quote-unquote limitations that go with it so that you will experience reality in a certain way. Therefore, you may simply trust that you knew what you were doing when you imposed those limitations upon yourself, exactly where you need to be on that path. Do you follow me?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Question.
Would you explain the triad a bit to us, Bashar?
Thank you. All right. You will find that our civilization will recognize ideas in what you term to be threefold symmetry or triads. You will find that this will imply the idea, in essence, of many, many things within the framework of time, beginning, middle, end. Trinities. The balance and energy between 3 points will always be far more, in your terms, physically stable than any other configuration. Do you follow me? You will find that we, therefore, function usually within 3, in the sense that you have myself, anima, and 3 channels upon your planet and 3 channels upon 3 planets. You will find that what you term to be your planet Earth forms a triad with our civilization and the civilization you will know as that which orbits Sirius. You will find us to be approximately, in your terms, not implying that any is greater or lesser, more important or less important, but you will find there to be approximately 300